welcome back. It's Chava again. Um, if this is your first time joining me, this will probably be very confusing. I am a life coach and practitioner of Chinese medicine, and I am here to answer your questions about life, the universe, and everything from a coaching and Chinese medicine perspective. I answer questions like how can I get my children to do their homework based on their personality types in classical Chinese medicine or classical Chinese medicine's psychology or philosophy of self, or questions like why do people who are born in the year 2000 act the way they do, which is the question that I am working on today. This is the third question I've got that has this format of what is up with people who are born in a specific year. These tend to come in from people who work with the public or in customer service or teachers who have noticed that there tend to be some sort of reoccurring features of people that they work with who are all the same age. And this is another one. So the question today is people who are born in 2000, why? And I am yet again experimenting with my cute little Canva diagram. I got good feedback on the last one, so you get to see it again. So this is the balance of energies in the that someone who is born in the first half of the year 2000 or the Chinese year that nearly overlaps with the year 2000 will experience as an influence on the development of their personality. So, because I was not exact about dates last time I tried to do one of these, the map that I'm showing now, the map that is on the screen now, is for people who were born between the 5th of February 2000 and the 31st of July 2000, because the Chinese year does not overlap exactly with the Gregorian year. And the second map that I'm going to show you in a minute is for people who were born between the 31st of July 2000 and the 24th of January 2001. I wrote the dates down this time. So this is the first half of the Chinese year that nearly overlaps with the year 2000. This is the second half of the Chinese year that nearly overlaps with the year 2000. And I will explain what you need to know about both of these, or at least what seems interesting or relevant to me, as soon as I work out how to go back to the first map. Hang on, I have to move. Oh dear, I seem to have two pictures of me, and they're blocking my access to the little arrows. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. I am still learning. We can all learn together. So cool. What we have here is a chart showing the balance of energies during the year, during the first half of what I'm going to call the year 2000 for simplicity's sake. I don't expect you to understand this map because you have not studied for 5 years. Yep, that's fifth year of acupuncture school is when you get into this, if you get into it at all. But it is, I think, helpful, and I have been told that it's helpful to have a visual representation. And I put in a cute little dragon, so at the very least, the fact that it's the year of the dragon should be obvious. I'm sorry, my computer is rocking. I keep experimenting with new ways to try and get my computer to a height where you're not looking up my nose, and yet I can see the screen. So moving on from there, the biggest thing about the year 2000, other than the adorable little dragon, I'm so happy with this, isn't he cute? Other than the adorable little dragon, is that the year 2000 is a year with a lot of metal energy. It has, in fact, doubled metal energy. The stem energy of that year is entirely metal. And if this is your first time tuning in or one of your early times visiting, I will put a link in the down there, where you can watch a video, which is an introduction to the stems and branches theory. But for the purposes of this video, there is a lot of metal energy in the year 2000. Okay, what does that mean? The metal represents the energy which is necessary for making decisions, for assessing and valuing things. It's the energy of clarity. It's the energy of scheduling, of measuring, of laying out an exact plan, of deciding what goes when and who goes where. It's the energy that's associated with our sense of justice, and of fairness. It's if you're looking at the spiritual aspect or the religious aspect, this is the energy of ritual, of of connecting to something by doing a number of steps accurately and carefully and in the right order. This isn't like going up into the mountains to meditate alone or having a drum circle. The energy of a carefully planned and practiced ritual. If you're looking at the big five personality aspects, then the metal most closely corresponds to the trait of conscientiousness. Um, and this is a year that has double metal energy. So people who are born in this year will tend to be very, how shall I put this? They can be a little judgy. They can be a little hard. They can be a little critical towards themselves, even more than other people. Or sometimes what happens when you get like doubled energy is it's so overwhelming that people go completely the other way. And you get people who feel like they have no connection to their metal. They're kind of wishy-washy, or they're kind of like have trouble with all of the decision making and all of the planning. Most years you don't get that. Most years, like the energy of the year or the energy that the people have, but when you have this doubled energy, which happens about one in every 5 years, you can get people who are kind of driven to the other extreme because they have so much influence of the metal that they need to kind of assert all the rest of their personality and kind of repress the metal or prevent it from taking over. Um, People who have this double metal energy will often end up, I want to say, with a tendency towards maybe feelings of depression or a tendency towards feeling guilt or feeling shame. Again, it's that conscientiousness. It's that need to always make sure that everything is right, that everything is correct, and that sense of fairness and of justice. And if you go around trying, expecting to always be right and always be correct and always do the right thing and always make the right decision, it's going to be hard because you're a person, and we're people, and we live in the real world, and the real world isn't perfect, and it isn't. Our plans don't always work, and our decisions don't always turn out the way we want. So that's something that can be hard for people with a very metallic personality. Let's say these are people who generally have a real affinity for perfectionism, and who sometimes need help to to relax, to loosen up, to go with the flow. So that's the metal. And the other thing about the metal is it's not just do we have this double metal, this very, very strong metal with the plus here. We also have the arrow. This arrow means that the metal energy, besides just being there, it also has a tendency with this balance of energies to attack or to critique or to be judgy at or to try and control the wood energy, where the wood is all about growth and creativity and trying new things and experimenting and dreaming. So all of that is being controlled or is being repressed or critiqued or yeah, controlled is what I keep going back to, by the metal energy. Now this is obviously something that's very important as part of the creative process. You need the process of the dreaming and imagining and trying and experimenting and failing, and then you need to write your draft, and then you need the metal energy to come in, and that's the editing, and that's deciding what to keep and what to get rid of. And um, what to fix and what to let be and what to erase, what to cut out of the project. So the wood and the metal are both essential for creativity, for doing things, for acting, for making plans, but they do need to be balanced. And here we have way more metal than we have wood, and the metal is trying to control the wood all the time. And so these might be people who have difficulty experimenting and trying and understanding that it's okay to try things and it's okay to fail, and that they might have difficulty doing new things because the process of doing something for the first time, for the first few times when you're a learner, is going to involve failure. It's not even, it shouldn't even be seen as failure, right? It's the inevitable part of the process that when you're experimenting with something new, some of the experiments are not going to work out the way you hoped. That's what an experiment is. It's when you don't necessarily know what result you're going to get. This is all really, really hard for the metal. Metal has a really hard time with this, and the metal wants to always know what's going to happen next, what's the result going to be. If I do steps A, B, C, then I should get result X, and if I don't, then something is wrong. So that's something else that can be difficult for people with this double metal energy, is that understanding that you can try and you can experiment and you can fail and it's all okay and it's all part of the process. Something that I sometimes recommend for people who have this balance of energies is to try a little bit either cooking or baking or gardening, doing something that involves getting kind of messy, where you can theoretically do everything right and sometimes it still doesn't work out, but you might get something else that you weren't expecting. I was making latkes, I was making potato pancakes, and I spilled the pepper in the mix. There was a lot of pepper. It was like potatoes and onions and egg and breadcrumbs and a lot of pepper. And so I shredded a couple more potatoes and I put them, I was a little kid, I was like 12 or 10. And I put them in the mix. And then I just went to the spice cabinet and I was like, what might overwhelm the taste of pepper? And I put in poppy seeds and I put in red pepper flakes and I put in, I don't even remember what. It was not the standard potato pancake, but it tasted good. Let me tell you, I spent a lot of time trying to recreate that like extra spicy potato pancake. Um, and so, doing something where you can mess up and you can make a mistake and the world doesn't end and it's all okay and it's just part of the process, and maybe you even discover something new and better than what you were trying for. That's something that can be helpful for people who have this balance of energies and who want to practice getting out of their comfort zone and experiment with using the other sides of their personalities and developing them a bit more. Okay, so that is the stem energy of the year 2000. The branch energy of the year 2000 is the earth. It's the yang earth, the masculine earth or the active earth, which is represented here by our cute little dragon. So the earth is all about home. It's all about family. It's all about stability and security and routine and what's regular and what's normal and expected. And so the yang aspect, the active or the masculine aspect of the earth, is represented by the dragon, because the dragon, he's kind of the in like Chinese philosophical thought, he's kind of represents like the masculine equivalent of Mother Earth. So if you have the great mother, the maternal spirit, which is kind of like, represented by grandma cooking in the kitchen, then the paternal spirit is represented by the dragon. Because what does the dragon do? The dragon, he builds his home, he builds a den, and he brings his treasures there. And everything that's special that he wants to protect, that he wants to keep safe, he puts in his den. And then he goes out and he patrols the territory around it and he makes sure it's safe. And he catches food and he brings it back to the den. And so he is kind of like he's the active, going out, guarding, hunting aspect of that family spirit, of that guarding and safety and security and nurturing and nourishing. And so dragons are all about the treasure. Okay, and a dragon's treasure might be their kids or their family or their friends or their home or their work or their hobbies. Whatever a dragon cares about, that's going to be their treasure. That's something that they're going to need to keep safe. They want to keep it on hand. They want access to it. They want to take care of it. They want to nourish it. They want to nurture it. And what you can get a lot of with dragons is the tendency towards collecting or even hoarding things, of maybe being very possessive, of, if they were assigned a project at work that they're excited about, they might not want to let people in to help share. If they are responsible for organizing the family reunion, it will be important to them that every single person shows up, and they might move it 18 times trying to find a date that will work for everyone because all of the family has to get together in the same place. Or otherwise, it's not like all of the family and it doesn't count as the reunion. Um, they might collect things that are important to them, and they might have difficulty understanding people who are less inclined to keep things. I tend towards minimalism. I don't tend to keep a lot of mementos around the house or decorative objects or gifts. If you gave me something that I can't use and I can't, like, I'm not going to keep the little plastic statue of a goat that my first boyfriend gave me because he thought it was cute and he somehow managed to say that it made him think of me without comparing me to this little plastic goat. Um, I don't know. I wasn't that discriminatory with things that he gave me, but you know what? I didn't keep it because it was a goat. I kept it for a while we were still dating. I do not have it as a memento, but that can be really hard for dragons to understand if they gave the gift, or if they put together, for the family reunion, they get some sort of memento that everyone gets, and maybe they go to someone's house and then find out that the magnet from the family reunion isn't on the refrigerator. They can take that very personally because they value the emotional aspect of their possessions quite often. Not necessarily their physical possessions. It might be photographs, or it might be um, documents of the family history. But they will value, um, and appreciate the value in these sort of things that you keep as mementos, as remembrances, um, and they can have a hard time with other people who don't value the material aspect of memory in the same way. Um, so all in all, it can be hard to be a dragon. Like, dragons are, excuse me, dragons are amazing. Dragons have so much energy and so much creativity and so much drive, and they have powerful personalities, and they are very good. They're generally very good leaders and very good entrepreneurs. They can work on their own because they have their own personal drive to see them through, and they will go after what they need, and they will take care of the people and the things that are important to them, and they can be giving and they can be generous, and they're concerned for others, as long as the others are inside their circle of my people that I have to protect and I have to take care of. But it can be hard to be a dragon. um, and it can be hard to have metal energy, and when you put both of those together, that when you have a great ability to appreciate and to value things, it also means it can be harder to lose things, or to not get things you're looking for, the things that you're looking forward to, or to not have things go according to plan. And so these can be people who are easily hurt, by other people not doing what they expect, by things not going to plan, by other people not appreciating everything that they do because they work really hard to make sure that everything is in order and taken care of and okay and looked after. And then if someone comes along who's just like, yeah, I just go with the flow. You don't need to plan everything in advance. We don't need your 18-page itinerary of what we're going to be doing this weekend. It can be hard for them. to not feel, you know, to not feel that they aren't to it can be hard for them because they can feel that their efforts or even who they are as a person isn't valued by others. um, I recently read the book. I finally got around to reading the actual original book, The Five Love Languages, which it was good. I recommend it. I recommend the concept. The book, the writing did not, it wasn't the style of writing that most appeals to me, but I made it through relatively quickly. Um, and it had, even if you don't agree with the specific languages that he breaks down, I think it had very good advice for people in general and certainly for couples on how to, you have to understand how the other person feels valued and how people express their love. And then one of the things that he said that kind of just blew me away, um, and I realized, not only is this amazingly true, but it's something that it's really, really important to remember. And it's too bad that we aren't taught this as children or in school or I don't know what. Whatever someone he says, so he says whatever someone's love language is, if you hurt them, if you strike out at them through that love language, then that is going to hurt them worse than if you strike out through something that's not their primary love language. So my primary love language is words of affirmation. I need people to say things to me, to tell me that they value or respect or love me or whatever. Like that is what I need in order to feel that I am loved. And so someone, talking to me in a mean way, saying mean things to me might hit me harder than it would someone else, or it might hit me harder than say coming into my house and taking back the gifts you gave me, or I'm trying to remember the other love languages now, or expecting me to do things for you and then never doing things for me. And I have a sister actually who has worked on. She's worked twice on like customer support technical hotlines, and I can't understand how she does it because people call up and they say awful things to her all day, and not that it doesn't hurt her, but I know that like I would just be devastated. I would be destroyed. I couldn't do it. Um, but like the words of appreciation isn't her love language, so it doesn't, the words don't come into her as deep. So where was I going all this? So when you have people where what they do, like how they go through the world and how they relate to others, is by valuing and appreciating and treasuring and trying to take care of people, if they run into someone where the way that they express their love and affection is by standing back and letting you have your own space to function because I trust you to be a grown up and I know that you respect me and I'm a grown up and I like my personal space. I'm going to give you your personal space. Like that can be very hard for them. Um, I think it can be very hard for them. It may be harder than other personality balance, other mixes of energies when you have like the dragon and you have the metal, because it's just so deep in the feelings of appreciation and gratitude and value. Like these are their motivators, and so it can be very easy for them to feel that they're not valued, that they're not appreciated, that others aren't grateful to them, because most other people aren't going to um, express these feelings uh, with the same intensity that the metal dragon will. Um, I did a video a couple weeks ago. Someone asked, I'm a dog and my dad's a tiger, and how can I work on improving our relationship that I feel is more distant than I would like? And and I told her, the dog is the most caring and it's the most empathetic and it's the most um, egoless animal in the zodiac. And so, you know, very few people that you meet are going to give you as much as you try and give everyone around you, because everyone's way of expressing love and respect and appreciation is different. Everyone's trying to give what they would want to get, right? And if you're at one end of the spectrum, if you're at the extreme end of giving as much warmth and love and contact and calling every day, and checking in and looking out for people and remembering like you are the person who does that the most, then everyone else is going to do that less than you are, and you're going to feel underappreciated. And it's kind of the same things with the dragon. They are at the metal dragon. That combination is like the extreme end of the spectrum when it comes to feeling, when it comes to the ability to um, to feel a sense of appreciation and gratitude and to express how much they value things. And that means that since they're at one end of the spectrum, all the rest of the spectrum isn't going to be as good as they are at that specific thing. And that means it's going to be hard for them to get that back from other people. Okay, so that may be enough about why how hard this year is. I did not mean, by the way, I didn't mean for this to be a depressing thing in any way. Every year, every balance of energies has its positives and its negatives, and they're all necessary. And it truly is an amazing gift and an ability that you can share with the world to be able to to value and to have gratitude for all of the good things. Um, like that absolutely is something that more people need and that more people need in their lives. So as hard as it can be to be a metal dragon, it's so important and it's so needed. Um, yeah, so I did not want to forget to say that. When we look at the breakdown of the year into the two halves, which is normally the level of resolution that I'm looking at when I'm doing these videos, because that's already so much information, and any more than that really does seem to be excessive. Certainly in terms of keeping things to a reasonable time. When we break down the year, we look at the two halves. So the first half of the year, that's the 5th of February 2000 to the 31st of January 2000. It's a reasonable balance of energies. Right, we've got a lot of energy in the metal. We've got some in the water. We have very little in the wood. There's some, a little bit in the fire, and then we have this dragon earth thing going on. The only energy that's really underrepresented in the map, or is all, everyone has all of the energies. I keep saying this. Everyone has access to all of the energies. Everyone has access to all of the different sides of their personality. But for some people, some things are stronger and some things are less well represented. So what we see the least well represented on the map is the wood. It's the yang aspect of the wood energy. And so again, that's the creativity and the drive to start and to act and to do new things and to try new things. So this is, excuse me, under the constraints we already talked about, the first half of the year is reasonably well balanced. We go to the second half. Here we go. So this is the 31st of July 2000 to the 24th of January 2001. The map is a little it's a little more unilateral. So what we see here is we have the metal energy. There's even more going on in the metal. There's more going on in the earth. There's no no representation above the baseline. Let's put it like that. In the water, there's a little bit more in the wood, but not much, and there's even less in the fire. Um, so, excuse me. What we're looking at here is people who are just like the first half of the year, but maybe a little more extreme in some ways. There's more metal, there's more earth. What we do have here is we have a more even balance between the yin energies and the yang energies. So the inside here, this is all yin. The outside is the yang. And so if we go back to the previous map, we can see that here there's no yin energy represented. And so here, while it's more unilateral in terms of the elemental energies, we have the earth and the metal being more strongly represented. We do have energy going on in the yin, where to break that down, the yin represents the more, like, the yin and the yang are generally considered the feminine and the masculine, or the passive and the active, or the receptive and the giving. And so these are people whose personalities might be a little a little gentler or a little more attenuated even in how outwardly focused they are and how much they project on other people. But the second half of the year, it's going to be like even more earth, even more metal. There might be more don't say difficulty. It might be less natural. To connect to the water energy and the fire energy, where the water is intuition and instinct and our natural drives and our subconscious and the emotions that happen under the surface, everything that's under the surface, everything that we're kind of born with as part of the package of being a human. And the fire is all about connecting to others and reaching out and sharing our thoughts and our emotions and communication and forming community. So these are things where there's less representation. So they might be harder for this second half of the year metal dragon to do. They might need to be more help being dragged out of their comfort zones in some ways. Now, what we see in both halves of the year, it's always the same in both halves of the year, is this the supporting energy, the water, what's in the middle of the map. I have said the word water so often today that it has lost all meaning. I was literally looking at that going, there's a typo. I put a made up word in the middle of the map. That is water. And so the water, as I just said, that's all about our connection to our instincts, our emotion, our intuition. It's like connecting to ourselves. And that is something that's going to help bring these metal dragons into balance. This is what they need to help balance themselves out. Actually, this is what dragons always need. The dragon, which is all about taking care of others and treasuring and valuing others and nourishing and feeding. Dragons always need to come back into balance this connection to themselves, to their inner drives, to their inner values, to what they think and feel. And that's something that's going to be helpful for people who are born throughout the entire course of this year. This entire cohort is that connection to the water, which that whether that's meditating or journaling or therapy or just having someone to listen to them as they talk and work through things and get everything out of their head. Or going out in nature and actually being around water, like physical water. Walking in a pond or swimming in the ocean, getting down onto the beach. This connection to the to water, which represents this kind of eternal oneness, as well as the place of the unknown, the place of the primordial or chaotic figure in myths. The water is all about the deep drives, the emotions, the subconscious. It represents all of that and connecting with that on a physical level, or on the emotional level, or on the interpersonal level, being listened to, getting the chance to talk through your emotions. All of that is going to be helpful for these dragons. So I hope that answered your question. I did not this time get any explanation as to why this question is being asked, other than someone has to work with a lot of people in this year and wanted some answers. So I would love to hear if this was helpful, if it was interesting, if this fit with your experience of this cohort. If anyone else has questions, feel free to reach out, email, or in the comments below. And yeah, I'm here all week, or I'm here twice a week. I will see you next time. Take care, stay warm, unless the cold snap is broken by the time this goes up, in which case stay cool, and take care of yourselves. Bye.